All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Misfit Corner Comics Presents. This is the artist Andrew speaking, and I am live streaming. I'm sorry about that delay. As soon as I hit the button to go live, it started clocking, and I don't know what happened, but we're up and we're running, so cool. I did send the invite out to some people, the normal motley crew. We'll see who's able to join. It is a Friday, so Avery's here. Let me bring him in. What up, man?
Not much.
Hey.
What?
How's it going? Living La Vida Loca, living the dream, all that good stuff.
Praying every day I get the coronavirus.
Oh, well. you're young and healthy. If you got it, you'd probably, it'd knock you out for a day or two and you'd be fine.
Yeah, God wouldn't be that merciful.
Well, you're due. You're due.
For it to get worse?
No, for it to get better, for things to turn around and shock you. You know?
No, it's like the perfect top off to the last several years.
Well, yeah, I guess I can understand that too.
Just perfect.
Yep. Well, tonight I'm drawing. I've got an idea, so we'll see what happens.
When you're so close to rock bottom, you can just kind of go, oh, there it is.
No, that's not the one I was looking for. Where's the other pad?
Oh. Next time one of those people called about wanting to sell your house, I'm just going to be like, what do you got?
From what I understand, now is a good time if you're buying a house because the interest rates are so low.
Well, my interest rate was already really low.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't, if you absolutely had to sell your house, you wouldn't have to do very much to sell it, would you?
I'd have to replace the air conditioner.
That's one of those things that's for somebody else to do.
I'd have to repaint it all.
Well, that I can understand. It's not like you have to put down new carpet or anything, No,
I got to fix the floor though.
Oh, from when the pipes. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't see it because it's over my couch. My couch is over it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we never discussed how much damage it did, but you told me there was a lot there, so.
It'd be expensive to fix that hardwood floor.
And
do it right and put it and use real and make it right.
Yeah, my parents did a whole bunch of stuff to their house before they sold it, but then again,
I couldn't sell the house and get what it's worth. It has increased in value since I bought it.
Yeah. Yeah.
People bought it for more than what? More than they asked.
Hi, Todd. How's it going?
Good, guys. How you guys doing?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. I got an idea for a pinup that I'm working on, or at least I've got an idea that I'm mulling around in my mind. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh,
Thank you, dear. So what's new in the world of Todd? Anything interesting?
I'm tired, man. I've just been working really it's amazing. You would think with all the stuff going down that you'd have copious amounts of free time, but the truth is I don't have weekends anymore. I'm working on I'm just working all the time, which is good. I'm getting a lot of stuff done. It's an incredibly productive time for me and for the business and stuff, but it's God, am I tired.
Do you buy all the people that say this is going to take years for our economy to get over what's going on, or are you like me? Do you think the people that really have money that make things happen will get back on it?
I think so. I'm of two minds. I think it's going to the economy is going to bounce back fairly quick because this is we've forced it into a depression, right? It's not natural.
Right.
Like the reason things are going to spring back is because we've had so many rules and regulations have been removed out of the way that the economy will bounce back. It may take a while to recover just because of the sheer amount of money we've spent on this thing. So the country's further in debt than we were before. In the long term, I think it's going to be healthier for business because um, I think most businesses now realize that they better have an online strategy,
Yeah.
some kind of online strategy, or else they're totally screwed.
And-
Because the only people that haven't been hurt, like Melissa and I, like by luck or by just having done this for so long, like it hadn't affected us at all. In fact, it's just made us busier because I help online business. I help service businesses scale through online marketing systems, and Melissa is helping
Come on, I got
online education companies and health companies. So like, we like I think if and when this happens again, and I haven't, I guess that would be the negative of all this because I have no doubt that they're going to do this again for fun.
Yeah. Well, it happened at the time at the end of what? The end of World War One?
You mean you're talking about
the Spanish flu?
Yeah, but
1918 was the Spanish flu. Lasted about 3 years.
Yeah, but I think that you're in a different position now. I think what you're going to find is they now have the ability to do this whenever the hell they want to tank the economy for whatever reason. I think the scary thing is you found there are a lot of people that now realize that the way to install their belief system or the way to install the rules and laws and regulations they want by force is to cause a global pandemic, or at least convince enough people that there is one. I think we're finding out now that in this case, here's the thing: is if you can create all of this, and it turns out that it's starting to look like in terms of numbers that this isn't nearly as bad as we were led to believe. I think if they can install this and create this much panic and fear and control over your freedoms, over something that is probably not as dangerous as most epidemics, well, like a real epidemic, then if they can do that on something so mild, then they can do it on anything, right? Because anything is going to be worse than this. Anything worse than this, and they'll be like, it's worse than COVID. You remember COVID, how bad that was? Oh, it is like 10 times worse.
Yeah.
And I think you're gonna see it with frequency. Yeah. I think this is gonna be a new part of life. There are people that want this to become the new normal, where every 4 years.
That was my question initially. Is this our new normal? Is this what's going to happen every time a new virus is found? Is this how we're going to react? And that's crazy.
Yeah, it is, and I think and it's because look at how much money has been given out. Look how much power has been given. Look how much control has been given. There are people that crave power, and it's not something that most other human beings can relate to, because most of us don't crave power over other human beings in that way. But it is the trend of humankind. I mean, there's always been people who have used power to oppress others. I mean, that's just the way it is. So it's a part of human nature, even though most humans don't have it as part of their core being. And I think you're about to find out. You wait. Mark my words. I think you're gonna look. I don't think it doesn't take a conspiracy theory to like look at numbers and look at history and realize that we've had a quote unquote big disease every 4 years on an election year for the last 30 years.
Right.
Like clockwork. Right. So either nature and God are like, oh, Americans are having an election, we gotta get a thing. Here's your pandemic for the year, or it is being purposely controlled. We've slowly been scared to death to be easily controlled.
Never let a good crisis go to waste.
That's right. And I think you're going to find, what's her name? The chick with the scarf, Frick, whatever it is, Silks, the other, Fauci and the other one, right?
The chick with the scarf. That's good.
Yeah, the doctor. She was talking about, what was it? Not yesterday, day before yesterday. She was during the daily briefing. She said that it was incredible how much power that they've been given, and how much power over people they've been given, and how they've learned so much about how to control behavior that when this happens again, they'll be able to roll out something like this much more effectively and much easier next time.
Avery, what are you doing that's making that whooshing noise?
I'm muted.
Oh,
It might have been, I don't know. It might have been me rubbing my hand on my computer or something.
stop doing that, damn it. It's loud.
Sorry.
I just thought it was Avery because you were talking and the
No,
noise was happening.
Whatever. But
Okay.
the point is though is that like when you've got someone saying, "Oh, when this happens next time, we'll be able to control people in a much easier fashion." Like, well, then that's not it's a plan.
Yeah, there are people that I mean, watch Bill Gates talk. That dude's like obsessed with controlling every little thing a person does.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And,
he's
in fact,
obsessed with it, dude.
oh yeah, and I'm sure it's just a coincidence. And again, it's so easy to get into conspiracy theory, but I mean, fact is fact. What's her name? Dr. Brick. I mean, what's her damn name?
What?
What's her name? What's the doctor's name?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know which one you're talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. I just don't know her name.
Oh God, I want to be accurate.
For this show, not needed.
I know.
Hey, Camille, how's it going? She says hi, everybody. We're just
Anyway, the other one, Bilks Blix. You know who I'm talking about. Her daughter is one of the heads of strategy for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And he's nasty. That guy is nasty. That guy is not a good person.
Who? Bill Gates?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you've seen the things where he's talking about using vaccines to help you for population control.
Oh yeah. No, he fully believes in eugenics, and he wants to track people. He wants mandatory digital passports, like full on, like you to go anywhere. He wants you to scan your hand, and you'll have a chip. And if you haven't had your vaccine, you're not allowed to go in a certain area or get on planes. It's essentially like the Chinese surveillance system. It's crazy. That guy's nuts. He is not a good person, in my humble opinion.
No, I think he's evil too.
He doesn't own any part of YouTube, does he? Because I can see us being quickly shut down for comments like that. Kodiak says, guys, I don't know what the hell's going on. I have no ground internet again. I'm trying to figure it out now. Oh, geez, Louise.
Oh no, Kodiak.
Kodiak. I mean, the heart and soul of this show, and he can't make it in. I mean, that sucks. He and I had a little bit of a conversation after the show last night, or was it Wednesday night? I forgot, where I was giving him my ideas for for the cringe rap that we're working on, the cringe rap videos. And he loved them. And I'm like, oh, we can't wait to start working on those.
I can't wait to not see that.
It's okay. You don't have to see it, but it's going to be great.
Oh, it's going to be awful.
I know.
It's going to be horrifying in a way that no human being should be subjected to.
That is exactly right. That's exactly what we're going for is horrified and so forth. And it's all because I watched the Tiger King thing.
Oh my God.
Have you watched the Tiger King yet?
No, I'm not going to. I'm not interested.
Oh, okay. So you're not going to get any of the references that people are talking about, and everybody is talking about them.
I don't want them. I don't need it.
Todd, do you know what we're talking about when we talk about the Tiger King?
I know what it is. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay. So you don't know when we say Carol Basky's a bitch.
I get it.
I don't have time to watch that crap.
Everyone talked about it.
Yeah, I've got nothing but time nowadays, even from working from home.
Why don't you get some comics done, late loser?
Because I'm working. Guys, working from home doesn't mean I can draw comics. It means I can listen to stuff. I can watch stuff on TV while I'm working from home. So I started going through my Vudu library of movies that I own that I've never watched. And I watched the first one today, which was oh crap, what did I watch? Oh, Murder on the Orient Express. The Kevin Brannigan one.
That sounds racist.
It's not racist. But turns out the main character that he plays, the detective guy, was one of Agatha Christie's most famous characters, and I'd honestly never heard of him. Turns out he was in 33 different books, and supposedly there's another movie coming out with him in it, and I had no idea he was. I don't know if popular is the right word, but as well known. It's probably more well known in Europe and all because the guy was Bulgarian, I think.
Sounds racist.
So it's not racist. What are you talking about? But I saw the movie, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Mike, he actually took my wife to go see it when it was in the theater, and he was like, yeah, I kind of figured out who did it early on, and I'm okay, well, let me see if I can figure out. And I kind of had a hunch, and then after I watched the movie, I read the synopsis of the book, and it's very much, it followed the book pretty closely. So if you've ever read the book, then you know how the movie ends. So
I don't know, synopsis. Just because the synopsis is the same, doesn't mean the two things are anything alike.
Tara and I have been talking about Bill Gates ourselves. Maybe he shuts us down. Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Avery is like, why would I want to watch it? I live it. I live in Jacksonville too long. Yeah, that's true. There's going to be some. Okay, so here's my idea for this new pinup. So I created this new character, this guy, and he's supposed to be like a cult leader, a death cult leader, and him and his cult want the end of the world and so forth. Papa Bill, yeah, that's what it could be. Well, I have an idea for a story, but I'm probably never going to get around to doing the story. So what I want to do is do an image, a full-size pinup image, and one of the things I was looking for some like Conan reference with Conan versing his nemesis bad guy Tulsa Doom, and what I wanted was Crom fighting somebody in the foreground with the Doom character in the background, like kind of looking down at what was happening. And then I thought, who would Crom be fighting? Who would be a cool character to be fighting? And then I threw in an aspect of mind control, that Crom's being mind controlled by this guy, and the person he's attacking is Princess. So I'm gonna have her in the foreground, like kind of looking over her shoulder, going, "What's going on?" And Crom's like jumping up behind her, get the big old axe or sword or whatever, like he's gonna come down and crush her. And then you've got the bad guy in the background, like his face in the background, leering. And then I thought about doing, if I did the full black and white image and grayscale and all that, have like a twinge of old-fashioned acrylic white paint like coming out of his eyes, and then have the same thing happening on Crom to kind of give the impression of mind control. So that's the next thing I'm going to be working on, is this pinup. But I like the idea, and this obviously, that's not a really good picture of Princess, but getting an idea. But I want to do something where he's jumping up, he's like putting his arms over his head, I think he's going to come down and crush everybody, and definitely crush her at least. But she's not a dainty little wildflower, so in the story she'd probably actually be able to kick his ass just because. But all right, so how you guys doing?
Bored.
Okay, well, I wanted to...
Are you starting the live stream now? Oh, you asked us that, like, wow.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm now getting to the point where I'm paying attention to you, so what you say from this point on actually, is important to me.
Gotcha.
Or at least until I find what it is I want to talk about next, and then, you guys know how this goes. Actually, there's something Odd and I were talking about the other night, about showcasing and talking about. Let me switch my camera up so y'all can see my beautiful face, because I know that's what you come here for, right? And then we will screen share, and let's talk about Todd McFarlane on Kickstarter.
I don't know. We need some pencils down on Todd too.
$1 million in less than 2 days.
Disgusting. Pretty
fantastic, Todd, huh?
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Talk about building. Talk about spending 20 or 30. How many years since he made his big splash on the scene?
I don't know.
It was we were in high school, so it's got to be 20, 30 years worth. But he's been cultivating fan following ever since those early days.
That's what good customer service will get you.
That's right. That's right. And I wonder if somebody came to him and said, "Hey, with the shutdown of the comic book industry, you should do something, and let's see what happens." So he decided to do a Kickstarter, which
I don't think it's even that complicated. I don't think anyone had to come to him. I think I was actually thinking about this morning. I think you're looking at a guy who you're looking at an entrepreneur who runs a business, and he has a company and he has employees.
yeah,
He's had to shut down. His business is closed. He can't sell toys, and he can't push toys into any of the stores because all of the stores are closed. So his toy business is on hold. His comic book business is on hold because he can't make a living. And could he sit on his ass? Sure, but he also has employees, and he also has production facility. Everything is a machine. Everything is a well-oiled machine. If production stops on everything, it becomes very hard. There is a cost in opening back up. You know what I mean? Like even manufacturing in China and everything else. Like, I mean, you have to keep these things going, or else it can get really hard to start up again. So I think he looked at it and said, well, what can I do to keep the machine running, or at least cover the operational costs and maybe employ a couple people? If you look at what he was trying to earn, wasn't it like $100,000?
yeah, that's what the original goal was, 100,000.
Yeah. So I think you have like $100,000 for the goal. That right there is enough to keep his operational costs, so he doesn't lose money and the business can stay open. He can pay the overhead, maybe keep an employee or two. You know, but that is like $100,000 is keeping the lights on.
Yeah, he probably takes that very seriously. Like, I'm responsible for these people.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to.
If I fire them, they're.
Well, it's also talent. If you fire, I mean, you also have to remember, like, especially with what he's got, like, there's a lot of, like, look, is there a big fear of him losing his talent? Not totally, because it's very hard for people to get jobs that are like this. There's only, what are they going to do? Go to Sideshow or go into animation or something, or gaming, and everything is closed right now. But if he can keep the talent on board and keep them working, and he can keep the lights on, I think it's brilliant. And I think he's telling the truth that he's been thinking about it for a while. He probably had this thing, he probably had some of the stuff already in the works. And then when the COVID,
he's been talking about. I've been seeing things about this for a little bit now.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions. Is this something that he had planned to do, and this was just a good opportunity to do it, or was this like, oh, wait a minute, there's a need out there. There's a need out there. Let's try and fill it with something. But if he's been planning this for a while, this just ended up being a good time to launch it, Well,
I think what you're going to see now is I don't think Ethan and your boy inspired certain people. But I think you're going to find that the second wave of creators to hop on Kickstarters or Indiegogo, your Sean Gordon Murphys, they're going to reference. It's going to be way easier to reference McFarlane and McFarlane's success.
Right.
Which is it's a brilliant move for McFarlane as well. McFarlane is a branding master. I've worked for branding masters. Like, I know how these people think, and he's like, and Kodiak says in the chat, he's like, Fraga said, they feel the only reason Todd isn't comics gay is because he's faithful to Image, as he should be. I told Fraga that Tech Image was the first CG. I don't know what Tech Image is, but
probably a typo.
Yeah, probably. Or Todd at Image. I don't know what he's, but
Image was the first CG, is what he's saying.
Oh yeah, Image was the first CG. It absolutely was. But the thing is like, one of the key tenets of branding is, one of the key tenets of branding is something called throwing rocks at your enemies. And what ends up happening is when you do that, you end up putting yourself into something called the prolific zone. And the prolific zone sits somewhere between the mainstream and the crazy, right? So the mainstream, if you're thinking about weight loss, okay, the mainstream version of weight loss is the government rules. It's the 4 food groups, right? Everyone knows the 4 food groups. They're not exciting. You're not going to make a lot of money trying to sell everything about the 4 food groups because everybody knows it, and you can go to school and learn it, right? On the crazy side, on the right side of the crazy spectrum, might be bodybuilding or the all egg diet, right? Where there are people that are going to do it, but it's more of a traditional way to do it, right? Bodybuilding is a traditional way. Eat well and work out. Same thing with eggs, but you're not going to make a lot of money because people are going to look at that and say, like, that's crazy. On the left side of the crazy spectrum, you're going to find something like the sun diet, and that's a legitimate diet. I mean, it's legitimate in that people do it. And the sun diet is where you literally go out and you stare at the sun and you don't eat, and people believe it. But it's crazy. So you're laughing because it's nuts, but people do it. So the prolific zone is just crazy enough to turn people off and say that can't be true, but just crazy enough to people where people say, is that a real thing? So the keto diet, paleo diet, CrossFit, right? These are things, Soul Cycle. These are activities that are variations of. They're not crazy enough to where you're like, oh, that's not going to work, but they're not mainstream enough to where you're like, it's boring. It's a new opportunity. It's a new thing. And that is to say that McFarland understands this, maybe inherently, if not specifically. And basically what he's doing is he's looking at the market and he's like, okay, well, you got EVS out there who definitely is in the prolific zone with Comicsgate. But all McFarland has to do, and they believe the same thing, if not politically, then that this is about customer service. So he gets to be the head. Do you know what I mean? He gets to be on the other side of the prolific zone. He gets to put his thing out. He's got $1 million book in 2 days. And now all these other comic artists that are going to come out. They're either going to reference EVS or they're going to reference Todd McFarlane. And so Todd McFarlane is back on top as the #1 artist. It's pretty brilliant.
Yeah. Well, let's look and see what this Kickstarter actually offers. And I have another question. I wonder if Kickstarter actually went to him or if they reached out to Kickstarter, because he actually has it in here. Todd McFarlane is joining forces with Kickstarter to help deliver an updated version of the original 1995 toy comic release. Makes me wonder if, Kickstarter reached out to him or if they reached out to Kickstarter. Just curious, because, I mean, he could get more money if he stuck with if he went with Indiegogo,
Well, he was on I think he mentioned multiple times that in a partnership with Kickstarter. In partnership, and that's something that, like, certainly you could say, oh, I'm an older guy and I don't understand how this works, and everyone partner in the fact that everyone's partnering with Kickstarter. But he said he partnered with Kickstarter, and he was featured on the front page of Kickstarter yesterday.
Right.
He's still on there because now it's $1 million thing. Yeah.
Well, so Kickstarter is more of a, it's like FedEx, or it's when you think of crowdfunding, Kickstarter is the first thing you think of. So it makes sense that he would go with it. But I think if he even tried or looked into Indiegogo, it would have been, I don't know. The fees are different, and if he's working with Kickstarter, maybe they're giving him a little kickback on it because they're going to make a whole bunch of money off of this too.
I don't think they're going to give him. I know those people. I've met those people. I know those people really well. They're not going to give him a break, but they're going to put him on the front page.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and read this and see
because they're going to. You also have to think about this, dude. Again, you got to think about the branding and the marketing and the strategy. McFarlane's like, hey, think about McFarlane and think about if this is something that him and his people could do. You call Kickstarter and you say, hey, Indiegogo's eating your lunch when it comes to comics. I mean, I was doing my research and it looks like, Indiegogo has made several $1 million off of comic books in the last year or two, and you guys suck. I'd like to launch my campaign on Kickstarter. Here's my history, right? Mm-hmm. And I can guarantee that I'm going to bring in several $100,000. I've got a huge fan base. I've got 300,000 people on my followers on this platform and that platform, but I want top billing. I want to be on the front page. That's a partnership. So I think that's what happened. I think you're witnessing McFarlane using Kickstarter, but also pitching Kickstarter. It's like, look, if you want to compete in comics, you give me the top billing.
Right.
Now everybody knows that Kickstarter has $1 million comic book campaign. And it happened in 1 day. Look how much Kickstarter.
Just under 2 days.
Yeah, but you don't understand. Like all of a sudden, every comic artist Like all these comic artists that were like anti-comics gate, or like, you know, you had people like Sean Gordon Murphy saying, "Oh, I don't know, should I do a Patreon? Should I do a Kickstarter?" Meanwhile, everyone's like, "Are you kidding me? Like Indiegogo is the way to go," and Kickstarter is notorious. Like it isn't. It is absolutely 100% fact that they will boot you for your political beliefs. Period. And I didn't have to get that from the news. I get that from knowing people who work there. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? They take their belief, they take their agenda and their belief system seriously. So, you know, I think it was very easy for McFarlane to come in and say, "Hey, you know, let's do if you want to do comics." Look, he probably contacted that comic book czar chick. You know, she's in the news, so he would know who she is because
Right.
out there, and just contact and say, "Hey, we really love this campaign, but we want to be on the front page. How can we make this happen and make Kickstarter a front runner, you know, and beat Indiegogo?" And I think that's what happened, because that's what I would have done if I had his clout.
Yeah, that's true too. All right, well, let's take a look and see what's actually in this thing, because I haven't actually perused it enough to know what's going on. But let me read and share with you what it says. In 1992, oh, what a great year! The very first Spawn comic book hit shelves, setting sales records for an independent comic. A few years later, in 1995, the first Spawn action figure was released to retail and critical acclaim, helping to usher in a whole new way of giving you much detailed and art. Helping to usher in a whole new way of giving you much detailed and art to your action figures. Okay. Now, 25 years later, Todd McFarlane is joining forces with Kickstarter to help deliver an updated version of the original 1995 toy and comic release. Now, Todd, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have the original Spawn toy?
I did not. I wish I did now.
Did you have any of them?
I didn't collect them, no.
Okay, me neither. I
was exclusively a comic kid.
Yeah, I think I had a couple of McFarlane toys, but they weren't ones that I went out and actually bought. They were like given to me for some reason or other. So, I mean, I thought they were cool looking, especially his monster ones that he did.
Yeah, I still have a few. I've got his so I've got Akira. I've got
oh yeah.
I've got his Sin City Marv.
Yep.
I've got the Danger Girl series.
Yep. But you don't have any of the Spawns then, huh?
I don't have any of the Spawns. Nope.
It's interesting.
Nope.
So this new one is a 7-inch tall, which that's really not that big, you know? It's still, you know, it's bigger than the original, but it's not that bigger.
Kodiak, sorry to interrupt. Kodiak is asking where you the link.
The normal place. Twitter. Now let's see here. About the figure. This figure will be 7 inches tall and comes with huge folding cape and weapon. The articulation of this version will be more than double that of the original toy had, and include a comic cover. And the included comic cover will be redrawn by the international award-winning artist and creator of Spawn character, Todd McFarlane. Now, I saw the comic that they had in the image here, and the cover, I mean, that's pretty boring.
Yeah, it's super weak.
I think that's the original comic that came with it, to be honest with you. Oh, it says right here, comic cover will be re-inked by Todd McFarlane. So maybe that's not what's going to be coming with the product.
That's probably not the cover.
Yeah. I mean, hell, the cover to issue number 1 is better than this.
Yeah.
But all right. Then it shows they've got a video here showing the different articulation to all the pieces, which is actually kind of cool. This little turnaround here. Have you seen this one?
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty cool. Oh, let me play it. Somebody's going to steal the design from the ideas. So, all right. Let's see. It also says, as well, the new remastered version will come with its own box with slip cover to help preserve the condition of the figure, comic, and packaging. And speaking of the actual blister packaging, it will mimic the original design from the classic toy of 1995, although upgrades will be all across the final product. And I think that's cool. I know somebody was talking about it earlier about the box having a slipcase cover so that you could actually take the toy out, check it out, play with it, and then put it back in and still consider it, in.
Yeah, the blister pack is going to be able to be open and closed, like sealed.
Yeah, I think that's actually kind of cool.
That's very smart.
The new resealable clamshell package will be used so you can take out your figure and comic for display, but also be able to return them both into the packaging like you have never opened it in the first place. That's kind of cool. To simplify this offering, there will be only 4 levels: a classic costume version, a modern costume version with brand new head, an artist proof that we're calling the black and white, and lastly, a 3-pack bundle which will include the classic, modern, and black and white figures, the latter 2 figures getting new head sculpts. Now they show pictures of this. Now, honestly, I like this one the best. With the mask and so forth, that looks really cool. Optional Todd McFarlane autograph plate and bonus weapon. Looks like a stick with nails and a hook on it. That's kind of cool. I wonder if those will come separately or if they'll come in the package. That's interesting. Then you have the modern Spawn, which has the shoelace face, where I guess at one point in the comic, somebody cut him and split him open, and he sewed up his face with a shoelace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't read the comic very long. Kodiak says, I really wish AT&T was a person so I could flip and punch him in the face.
He's coming above that about with Fraga.
Yeah, he's having issues with his internet. So
No, above that one, the one he just posted above it.
Dear God, Fraga had 150 people in his chat, and he still read nearly all of them today. Andrew. Okay, well, whatever. Artist proof Spawn. Now, this one actually looks cool. I think if I was a toy collector, maybe something like this would be cool. But since I'm really not, it doesn't do anything for me. What about you?
That's actually the one that I would probably get.
I figured you would say.
That's because having made toys myself and having gone through the process, I love the way prototypes look before they're colored.
Yeah. I mean, there is a coolness to having something like this. But it's not. If I was going to have something displayed in my own collection, I'd like the full color version, to be honest with you. But it's still cool. The Todd McFarlane's autograph. If you choose, you can get an autograph by the creator and artist of Spawn, Todd McFarlane himself. Todd will personally sign a nameplate that can be used for display with your comic and toy. And each autograph item will also come with a bonus weapon, a reimagining of the wooden plank weapon from the original Spawn figure from 1995. And they have a little thing with a plate. What do you think about that, having like a signature plate?
I think it's pretty cool, man. I think it's very, very cool. He's finding ways to autograph the toy, which I think is dope.
Yeah, I'd rather have him like autograph the package or the comic than a plate. But then again, if the intent for this toy is to be displayed in your collection,
right,
having a little plate with his name, with his signature on it, is like the way to go. I mean, that's a cool idea.
You sign the comic, then people are going to start splitting the pack. They'll start selling the comic to the collectors and keeping the toy.
Well, I wonder how much the autograph plate will go for on eBay after a while,
Huh.
It'd be interesting.
He's kind of taking Stan Lee's spot, dude.
Yeah. 3-pack Spawn trilogy plus 2 new heads. The 3-pack Spawn trilogy will only be offered with an autograph and include the classic Spawn, modern Spawn with a unique Al Simmons human head, and the artist-proof Spawn black and white with a unique Screaming head. Each figure included is in a 3-pack, comes with the original comic book. Wonder if it comes with 3 copies of the comic book.
No, they're just adding a couple of heads to it. You get 2 figures.
Oh,
right?
You get 3 figures plus 2 additional heads is what it is. but you can only get these 2 heads if you buy the 3-pack of these 3. So you're
No.
getting 3 toys, but 2 extra heads is what
No,
you're getting.
no. Read it again.
Okay. The 3-pack Spawn trilogy will only be offered with an autograph and include the classic Spawn, modern Spawn with a unique Al Simmons human head, and an artist-proof
Oh, you're
Spawn
right, you're right.
with a okay. Yeah, that's what I thought I was saying.
Yeah.
This is your chance to get into the history as it repeats itself in this remastered version of the character and toy that helped change the industry for how visual and detailed action figures could look.
I love that screaming head though, man.
Oh, I love that one too. That one's actually kind of awesome.
Yeah.
That would be the only reason why I would go with the black and white one, is to have that head involved in it. It's either this one here, the classic Spawn, or it's the black and white with the screaming head, which of course isn't an option. In order to get what I want, I'd have to buy the 3-pack, and
Weird how that works, right?
yeah, I know. Weird how that works.
Yeah,
So
so then you get the 3 books. You get the Wait, does one of those books have a different cover? One has new art and one has black and white new art?
Well, I'm guessing from the way they got it, the artist proof Spawn comes with a black and white art comic.
Uh-huh.
So maybe it's, if you get this one, you get the comic. If you get this one, you get the comic, but with a new cover. And if you get the black and white one, you get the black and white cover. So you actually will get 3 comics as well if you buy all 3.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Huh. All right, now let's look at the prices of these things.
It's actually not that bad.
All right. So the classic Spawn's $40. The modern Spawn is $40, and the artist proof Spawn is $40. So if you just wanted one of these, $40 is not a bad price, plus shipping.
Mhm.
Let's see. To get the autographed classic Spawn, it's $40 additional dollars. So it's one figure and the signature card for $80. And
Plus
they
you
do the same thing with the modern Spawn. Okay.
Too.
What's that?
You get the additional weapon too.
Oh, yeah.
Collector weapon or whatever.
And then for $160, you get all 3, plus the extra heads, plus the signature stuff.
Which is essentially like one, like they did it's smart because for $80 you get 1 toy plus signature. For double that, you get 3 toys plus the signatures.
Right. Now, hold on a second. Do you get 3 signatures with this?
I think it's 1 signature, but scroll down to the bottom and look. I didn't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1
Yeah,
signature.
you get 1 signature. So, well, okay, I was just going to say, if you ordered each of them with the signature separately, it would be 80, 80, 80. You'd get 3 toys, 3 signatures, but you wouldn't get.
You just muted yourself. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You just dropped. Can't hear you. Your lips are moving, but nobody can hear what you're saying. Can't hear you at all. Can you hear me? Is it me? Nod your head if you can hear me. Andrew. Okay. I can't hear you. Your lips are moving. Andrew? Andrew.
Every time the internet blinks, it mutes me, and I'm talking and I'm hearing you, but you're not hearing me because I'm muted.
There you go. Now we're back.
Yeah, that was what was happening on that one stream I was doing by myself. It was the internet kept rebooting and kept muting me, and I didn't realize it.
You're like talking, moving, and I'm like, do you not hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I wasn't hearing what you're saying. So let me just re-say what I was going to say.
Okay.
Now, if you wanted all 3 figures with signature plates, you'd pay 80, 80, and 80, but you wouldn't get the extra 2 heads, but you'd get 3 signatures.
Yeah.
So the only way to get all 5 heads is to buy the 3-pack, which is $160, which isn't bad. If I had it, I'd spend it. But you only get 1 signature. So you get 3 toys and 1 signature.
Yes.
So, man, you'd almost have to order like 3 packs in order to.
You just want the signature.
Yeah. Well, no, I'd want each figure with a signature. But then again, I'd want the one that I want to keep for myself to have a signature as well. So
you could get one for the store, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will probably either go for the artist proof or the 3-pack if I do this.
Well, we'll have to see. It just started. It only started 2 days ago, or a day and a half ago, and it's currently at $1,055,851. Not too damn bad for an old guy like Todd McFarlane, huh?
Bro, I mean, I mean, it's funny. Like you kind of get used to seeing these numbers.
Yeah.
We've all seen these campaigns, but for most Americans, that's like 5 years, maybe 10 years of work, 10 years of work.
Yeah.
In less than 24 hours.
Well, if you think about it, Todd McFarlane is kind of like the ultimate comic skater. He is involved with the way Comicsgate works. You build a fan base by producing something that comes out. Well, with current Comicsgate, it's daily videos and so forth. It's reaching out to your customers through YouTube. What he did back in the day was he created a comic that came out regularly and interacted with fans face to face at conventions and so forth. He did it the way they could do it back in that day. And he built the fans. He didn't go out there and attack the fans. He didn't go out there and belittle them. He wanted everybody's money. And he continued to create new stuff. And then once he has that big fan base, that big fan following, which on YouTube, that's subscribers, he launched a new product on a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo or whatever crowdfunding campaign, and within 2 days' time, it's a huge success and everybody's talking about it. He's literally following the Kickstarter model that Ethan and Richard and them have proven can work. You build up the fan base, you interact with your customers, you talk to them, you communicate with them, and you do it every day.
Yep.
And
you're going to see, and you're going
the way to do it.
You're gonna see. I'm telling you. I mean, he's essentially opening the door. He's opening the door for.
Yeah, but how many comic book creators out there are going to see this and say, "I can do this," and they're going to flood crowdfunding sites with new products, and nobody's going to give them the time of day because they don't have the fan base that Todd built.
All of them. And you're going to find a lot of famous artists or people who have a lot of, or think they have a lot of clout that launch campaigns that bomb. I don't think LaFeld has been doing Kickstarter, but he never came through on his campaign.
Yeah.
Kickstarter campaigns are still on there, but he never, he at least as far as I know, maybe he did. I don't know. I would love to back a LaFeld campaign nowadays, but I don't think he's ready yet because I think he kind of screwed up a little bit. I think Jim Lee could do it. You know what I mean? Jim Lee could certainly have $1 million campaign.
Oh, speaking of Jim Lee, do you want to see what Jim Lee's been up to?
Well, he's been doing these crap ass sketches for trying to save the comic industry for putting him in the position that he put him in.
They are horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I saw there was one that he did. Oh, here it is. This is his Batman Beyond. I guess what he's doing is he's putting these up and they're going up for like 3-day auctions, and whoever wins the auction chooses what he does the next sketch of. And this was one of the previous winners said, do Batman Beyond. And this is like the Robert Patterson Batman Beyond here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like the background's kind of cool with the reference to Batman Beyond characters, but his version of the costume. Ugh.
Yeah, no, it's really hard for me right now because I've kind of lost a lot of respect for Jim Lee.
You know what's really sad about this? You know what the original size is? It's 9x12. It's not even 11x17. It's 9x12.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Oh, it's from Arkham Knight. I didn't realize that. Batman Beyond from Arkham Knight. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nighthawk Warrior says it's from the Arkham Knight video game version. Why couldn't he do the classic version, which actually looks so much better? Yeah. All right. Let's see what other. Because I know he's got a couple of these up right now. Oh, this is the Batman Red Rain. This is a really bad photocopy. Let's see if this is a better one. I kind of like this one, but Jim Lee doing a Kelly Jones Batman.
Mhm.
Catwoman looks nice. But once again, this is 9x12. Not even comic book size, which, yeah, it's not. Okay. Yeah, but if I'm going to pay $10,000, that's a little insane. And then I guess this is his newest one. This is Casey Sandsmark. That's her name. I didn't realize that was her last name. Wonder Girl, which isn't bad. This is actually more of a very simple sketch. This to me looks like a convention sketch,
Mhm.
and it kind of works.
My deal is that I don't, he's donating money. It's almost like you cause a problem and then you try to take the credit for trying to solve it. I mean, I definitely appreciate him drawing to try to give comic shops cash. I think it's a good thing, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he's kind of partially responsible and has yet to say anything about anything.
Yeah.
He just hey, that guy just disappeared and just started doing stuff. So,
well, I know he also did.
He certainly isn't. I think it says everything. If you look at what McFarlane is doing right now, and you look at what Jim Lee is doing right now, and you can tell how different they are as people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Trying to remember. I know. Oh, this was another one of them. The $5,000 for Doomsday.
Bigger?
What's that?
You make it bigger. Click on it.
I don't. Maybe. Yeah, there we go.
You have to. You're not sharing it though.
I'd have to share the other screen. Hold on.
That's all right.
Yeah. He's got 7 of 60 down here in the corner. Does that mean he's going to do 60 sketches?
I guess so.
Okay. I don't like this version of Doomsday at all.
No.
But somebody paid $5,000 for that sketch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it also says something, going back to McFarlane, who actually matters. I think it says something that what McFarlane didn't do was do a comic book Kickstarter.
Yeah, I think I would like to have seen a comic from him than a toy, because like I said, I was never really big into the toys. But here, check this out. This is one more. This is this was his Big Barda sketch that he did.
That one I liked. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, this one sold for $8,100, $8,100.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. See, now this looks more like a convention sketch to me. 6 of 60. Crazy. How much would you pay for a 9x12 original convention style sketch from Jim Lee if it was of this quality?
A little more than a convention sketch. I mean, that's like...
Well, the size, 9x12 is a convention sketch size,
Yeah.
That's what I'm going with. And it's probably on Bristol paper. It's not, on comic, publishing paper.
I know you want it on publishing paper.
If I was going to get something, I don't want something, because to be honest with you, just looking at the color of the paper, you can definitely tell this is Strathmore. Mm-hmm. That's why it's yellowish.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like using what's the name of this board? Bristol Canson. The Canson board looks better. It looks whiter than the Strathmore.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I wonder if it even says in the description. Yep, 2-ply Strathmore board. Yeah. Not my favorite type of convention paper. But like I said, how much would you pay for an original 9x12 from Jim Lee? Would you pay $8,000 for it?
No, you can buy original pages for more for about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But then again, it's going to charity, so it's worth it, maybe.
Yeah, to the 2 comic shops that are left.
Hey, my comic shop's still up and running. It's just not.
Kodiak asking for the link like multiple times. He's saying you didn't send the link in the regular chat.
Yeah, I did, but I'll send it again. I can't help it that he doesn't know how to use it. Come on, man. Copied. Go to Twitter. Go to messages. Go to the one. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put it in the one that's just to him. There we go. Now I've sent it. Now let me double check and make sure I did send it. Oh, crap. I didn't send it.
You asshole.
Oh, I am so sorry. Did I send
Asshole.
I sent it to D. I sent it. Oh man. I swear I thought I sent Kodiak. Get your butt in here so I can apologize to you face to face. I did not send you the link. Oh my God. I am such a bad host. Oh, here he is. Kodiak, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I can't believe I did. I can't believe I did that. You know what? You know, as payment for my wrongdoing, I'll give you my firstborn child.
Hey,
We have enough.
Michael's already grown. His firstborn is already grown.
Yeah, I still try to give him away to this day, and people still won't take him. My wife and I used to joke that if we threatened to give the kids away to gypsies, and they always said, "Well, they'll bring us right back." I said, "I know they will."
Mm.
So
Where the hell did Avery go?
he jumped out really as soon as we started talking about Todd McFarlane. He jumped out. That's all right. I wanted to talk happy-go-lucky stuff, and
your lighting in your room looks dope, dude.
Dude, I just did that earlier. That's why I was so pissed at AT&T. I'm still pissed.
I love it, dude. You look so
I
good.
gotta. The only thing I would have been able to do was jump on iOS live with the stream, and it has sucked anyways. And then all of a sudden, my kid's like, "Hey, Papa Bear, I can get on Fortnite," and I'm like, "What the hell?" And
all right, hey, I'm going to show you one more. This is one more of the Jim Lees.
yeah, good. Because I wanted to ask, because I'm
That was part of the charity.
Oh God, that's sexy. Now I may be playing devil's advocate here, but I want to hear Todd's opinion on why he thinks that Jim Lee owes DC anything to all of a sudden be the head.
You mean so? The question is, why does Avery says I said I was leaving? All right, fine.
Yeah, he did.
You did. So you like why Jim Lee? Why you think Jim Lee thinks he owes DC something?
No, why? How do I word this? What's going on? Because the thing is I might not have as much information as you.
Kodiak. You do know Jim Lee was co-publisher of DC, right? And they fired the other one, so he's now the publisher of DC.
You do know they did that, not him. He
I understand that.
He purposely sold Wildstorm because he didn't want to be an owner no more. Now I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm doing what I'm saying how is this at all an artist's fault? Because they go, okay, now
no.
Golden Boy.
Jim Lee is not just an artist anymore. He hasn't been just an artist in years.
But he was part of the creative
He
was part of the creative team. I've seen him and Greg Capullo talk about it. It was all in the creative form. Now all of a sudden they want him to be businessman and say, "Oh, jump to our rescue." And he might be. I'm just saying, devil's advocate. If it was me, I'd be like, "The fuck." This is not what I signed up for. It's like I don't do toilets. It's like I signed up. I signed up to be a cashier, and you want me to do.
Andrew, if you want to first, I'll go next.
Yeah. Let me put it this way. A lot of people come down on like CEOs of companies when they have to go out and make decisions and have to make statements, and all of a sudden they're the bad guys, they're the worst. They get paid to be the person responsible. They're paid big bucks to be the one that all the shit falls on when the shit starts falling. That's why they get paid the big money. What happened was he got a title. He got co-publisher title. The other publisher got booted. He was the sole publisher, and he said nothing. He did nothing. He needed to come out and make a statement when it came to Diamond closing up shop and not shipping comics, when it came to the big DC and Marvel not doing digital releases and all that stuff. He didn't say a word. I honestly don't think he said anything as of yet.
I say
He gets paid the big bucks to be the guy responsible for reacting and talking to the customers, and he has not done any of it.
That was
And you cannot.
Can you prove that was his job? That was
Well,
not his job.
shit.
That was not his job.
Kodiak, they paid him for that title. They gave him the
here's the
title.
deal.
They
Here's
gave
the-
him the money. He is the one responsible. You cannot come back and say, "Well, he's just an artist." He's not like Greg Capullo. He's not.
I
Greg
get
Capullo.
you. I can't
You
say
know?
he's just an artist, but
You-
was
but
he
you
all
did.
of a sudden supposed? I did. That's why I said I can't say that. What did I say? I'm playing devil's advocate so I can better understand
So the deal
what's going
is,
on. Why is Jim Lee a big bad guy? Because he's like, fuck this. I'm not saying shit.
so here's the deal. Here's why he deserves all the hate he's getting right now. And I really I'm to be quite honest, I'm actually surprised that he's not getting more hate. And really, it's not even about hate. I mean, for me, I don't know if you heard, but basically, I've really lost a lot of respect for the guy.
Yeah, that's
And the reason is, so when he was co-publisher is pretty much just a title, right? Like you're basically artist in chief. Dan Didio is the publisher. He's the main guy. He's the head. He's the guy kind of making all the decisions.
Yeah.
Jim Lee got to have his input in there and basically pick his projects. And basically, he was essentially to DC what Joe Quesada was to Marvel, right? Joe Quesada had more.
found the cat again.
Joe Quesada had more input, right? And Joe Quesada was more out front, but they basically served the same purpose, like chief creative officer, right? When Didio got fired, Jim Lee did not stay in the same position. Now, it's not regardless of whether
Didio?
huh?
I like the way you said it.
Didio?
Didio.
Yeah, Dan Didio. I mean, that's the way I've always pronounced it. So when Didio was fired, Jim Lee could have done a few things. If he didn't want to take the publisher role, he could have said no. He actually has enough power to be like, no, I don't want it, and he could stay in the same position forever. He also could have quit, and he chose not to. He accepted the position. He is now publisher. He is what Dan Didio was for 20 something years or whatever, 12 years, 15 years, whatever it was. So just like he's the president of the company, he's essentially like.
So what you're saying he did is like Hillary did the night of the election. She had all these people with their face rubbernecked to her to see what to do next. And instead of saying anything, he just disappeared. He's
essentially fairly exactly the same. It's like if you were imagine the whole, if your constituency, let's say COVID-19, everything that's going on right now, he's the governor of his state, and there are only 2 states. Well, there's a few more, right? But one of the states is DC Comics, and he's the governor of DC, and the whole industry, when this stuff is happening and all this stuff is going down, is looking for guidance from the guy who's going to be telling people about it. Marvel's not saying shit, but Marvel doesn't have any creative head. Quesada does not have any power over there anywhere. He's not even a part of it anymore. There is no chief creative. I mean, I think he still has a title, but he's not there. He wasn't there when I was working there. I saw that dude maybe like once a month. He had an empty office with a bunch. It was basically a storage space for his event comics stuff. So he had the chance to actually stand up and say, this is what we're doing. This is what DC Comics is doing. And this is how we're going to come together as a community. And he said nothing. He could have just gone to Twitter and said, hey, we're all in this together. We're working through it. Be back soon. He said nothing, zero.
But the fact that no one in DC said nothing, could they have gave him a gag order of some sort?
No, he's the publisher.
He is DC Comics.
He is the representative of DC. He's Stan Lee for DC. He could have said anything he wanted. And instead he said, they probably said, hey, can you like say something? He was like, I'm not saying shit. And they got some other guy that no one's ever heard of to talk about, we're just going to start selling digital comics. and piss everybody off. Like, he said nothing. And instead of actually standing up and saying, hey, we're going to work through this, it's going to be some rough times. He's the publisher. Go look at anything Dan Didio said of any significant, anytime that guy went to a convention, anytime there was like, oh, what's coming out next month? There was Didio that was like, oh, these are the new comics. This is the new stories we have planned. That's all he had to do was say, we're still working. We're still planning. We have some great things coming for later in the year. This isn't going to stop us. Yeah, it's a couple hiccups, but we're all in this together, blah, 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 blah. And everyone would have been fine with it. He said nothing and instead started to just like draw and basically, while these stores are closing because there's no leadership from DC Comics or Marvel Comics, Marvel's actively trying to shut these places down by giving them product that can't sell. And DC Comics is actively hurting them by not saying they're going to do anything. And so what he's doing basically is just saying, well, I'll just send you checks. What I can do is I can just draw and I can draw for an hour and crank out something that's going to sell for $8,000.
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, the extreme of almost blaming him for the whole collapse.
No.
Okay.
we're not blaming him. We're blaming him
Not
for
y'all,
not.
but I've heard the term Jim Lee hate. And it's just like, why? It's like, at the same point, it's like, fucking lost my thought. God damn it.
It's literally his job to say, Andrew is 100% right. It is literally his job
Okay.
to say something.
Kodiak, I don't care if it's Jim Lee, Jeff Johns, Dan DiDio, whoever is the head of DC should be out there saying something, and nobody is saying anything is what we're saying. This isn't hate for Jim Lee. This is hate for the guy at the top who's doing and saying nothing.
Okay, what if this was their pack of cards, their poker? Okay, they said, okay, we'll wait a second. Well, he still hasn't said anything. We'll wait a second to see what happens and then try to play it then.
Here's the thing.
See other people making mistakes.
Kodiak, let me ask you a question. You work in the comic. Let's just say you work in the comic industry, like not necessarily as an artist, but you could be an artist for DC Comics, or you could be.
Well, hold on. Let me
disclaimer.
Disclaimer real quick, because Kodiak gets it. I mean, I'm literally, if I miss a Ethan stream, I'm bummed out. I'm part of a group that literally live streams almost nearly every day. They take only a couple days for their family. They tell us everything that's going on. So I'm definitely in with that. You need to be communicating things.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just trying to totally comprehend this situation.
So I totally get you, man. So let's just say you're a vendor. You're a comic shop owner, okay? And as part of your job as a comic shop owner, you have to remember comic shop owners don't just have their retail space. A lot of them have online spaces, retail spaces. They also go to conventions. There's a lot of traveling. There's a lot of expenses, right? Over the last year, the comic industry, the stats are like, oh, everything is good. But you kind of notice that over the last couple of years, the Marvel booth at the conventions has gotten smaller and the DC booth has gotten smaller. And then the year after that, the DC booth got a little smaller than that, and the Marvel booth got a little smaller than that. Meanwhile, you're like, what are you guys doing? Can we get some feedback? And the answer is nothing. You get nothing back. There is not a response. And then there's a tragedy where all of a sudden it looks like there's this thing called COVID-19, and you say, hey, is this going to affect anything because there's this pandemic coming across and New York City is shutting down? Is this going to affect business? And you get nothing from the publishers that are based in New York City, nothing from the heads. No one tells you anything. And then the lockdown starts, and all of a sudden the printers stop running. And you say, hey, Marvel, hey, DC, so you guys print comics, right? So is this going to affect our publishing? Like, have you guys getting books out? Like, what are you making other plans? What's happening? And the publisher of DC says nothing, and Marvel says nothing. Your life, your family is being shit on, and the people who feed you are telling you nothing. And finally, you have some lower level person from DC say, we're going to go digital, when you're like, and you as a retailer, like, what the fuck, right? And then the publisher, instead of saying something, literally starts drawing sketches.
And still, so he has the perfect example
draw sketches with no context other than as a donation support for the stores. There's no context.
Not stores. If I understand correctly, it's one store, right? It's one store. They're trying to help this
Oh, I'll have
one
to look.
store.
I'll
Yeah,
have
I
to-
thought it was. I don't even know. I thought it was other stores. I don't.
Because Rob and Rob's wife have been posting things. Now, those guys, you know, they're just doing the same thing. They're just doing, you know, he has DC, he has knowledge he can share, or at least hope he can share, or whatever. He's got employees under him. So that's what you're saying.
As co-publisher, he was head artist. It isn't really his responsibility. He had the cover of Dan Didio. He didn't necessarily have to say anything because Dan Didio would say something. Like Dan Didio would be out there, would be on all the news sites saying this
Which
is what's
seemed
going
to be
on.
his sweet spot where he liked to be. He didn't
Yeah.
want to be in charge.
If you don't want the responsibility, you don't take the fucking job.
He didn't. He took the job where he could manage all the artists and be an artist. And
No,
take what you said, you even said he took
the
the jobs he
publisher
wanted
job.
to take.
They didn't pay him all that money to be able to jump in as an artist whenever
No,
he
they
felt
paid
like
him all
it.
that
That's-
money. So when somebody put a thing through, he's like, "Oh, that panel there doesn't look."
No, Kodiak.
No, that's
It
not what he was
all
doing.
about artistic direction for him.
That's
no,
not
it
Before
wasn't.
I joined Comicsgate, I was on his live streams. It was all about art. It was all about art direction.
Kodiak, as someone who's worked for a major publisher, as someone who worked for Marvel, there are people. I know the publishers at Marvel. I'm not so big on the DC thing, but I know Casada and I know the publishers at Marvel, and I know the pipeline of people there. There are other people vying for that publishing spot. It wasn't like Jim Lee just said. Jim
He didn't win it by default.
He didn't win by. There's a lot of people who work under Dan Didio that could have taken that position and would have taken the responsibility and the
I'm
pay
just
rate.
saying, I wonder if that Golden Boy thing caught up to
He
him.
chose to take it, and he chose to say nothing. And to this day, he has said nothing. He is undeserving of the position. He should be fired, or he should move back to chief creative officer role. He is not in charge, and it is a huge weak spot. He has said nothing, and it is causing great harm to every retailer whose livelihood and whose family depends on product being created. And meanwhile, you've got somebody like Todd McFarlane who says we have to do something, and he's doing a Kickstarter and kind of showing the way. You know, you got EVS and all these guys who are like, we got to do something. We're fine. Look, that's the future. Do you know what I mean? Like you're seeing the people who are actually doing something are doing something. Again, it wouldn't have taken much. This guy, all he would have had to do, say, as new publisher of DC, this wasn't something I was expecting. He could have said, I'm not even prepared for this because Didio did all the work and I'm just the artist. He could have said whatever he wanted. All he would have had to say, all he would have had to do was get his assistant to write a press release that he could approve and have it be all nice and legalese and really professional and corporate sounding and put it out with his signature on it.
Okay,
And that
what
would've been
if he
fun.
legitimately didn't know anything? Like he legitimately didn't know.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, Kodiak, we're not bashing on Jim Lee the artist. I don't think anybody is bashing on Jim Lee the artist. We're bashing on Jim Lee, the publisher of DC Comics.
Yeah.
The man who got paid to do that role.
If
And
you
this
were,
is
if
what
you
he's
were,
doing.
if
Now,
you were-
wait, stop. I want to answer one of your questions from earlier. These auctions, the 95% of the sales of these items will benefit the book industry charitable funds. This isn't even a comic book specific charity. This is a book industry charitable funds.
I didn't
So
know
it's
that.
not helping out a single comic book store. It's not even helping out comic book stores in totality. It's
That
the
seems
book industry.
Like,
So
what bugs me about this type of stuff, okay, done playing devil's advocate. What's been bugging me about all of that? No,
that's
seriously,
what you get for doing that, man.
I like it. That's
Jump
that's
on your
Kodiak's
ass.
here.
Wait, before you jump in, if you give me permission to cut you off for just 1 second, just so I can get this thought out there.
I give you permission. You can cut him off.
It is a classic thing in the comic industry, and it's one of the saddest things. It's one of the most difficult things is that when a famous artist back in the day, the famous artists being excluded, the rich ones that we have today, but in comics, it is it was a very sad trend for generations, and it's still a trend that when an older artist gets to a certain age and they need medical help, when they cannot pay their hospice bills or their hospital bills, you've got the comic book legal defense fund.
Yep.
And all of these artists for generations always do auctions. They always draw amazing pieces that go for auction, and all the money gets donated to the comic book legal defense fund. And that money is both for legal defense should an artist need a legal defense and cannot afford a lawyer, but it also became kind of a siphon for really talented artists who were stuck in the hospital and dying basically and couldn't pay their medical bills. Okay. So with that in mind, with the context of that history in mind, imagine that you are a freelancer or an artist. Even forget the retailer. The retailers see this the same thing, but I just gave you a retail example. I'm going to give you an artist example. You are a penciler for DC Comics, and you've just learned that Diamond has shut down and the printers have shut down, and you have gotten the pencils down order, okay? And your editors don't know anything because the people above the editors are people like Jim Lee. So you look to the leadership, and that person at the very top is drawing art for auctions to donate money to auctions.
So were we talking about the fans or are we talking about the artists?
I'm talking about anyone that works in the industry, any DC.
Because according to Gabe, he talks to Jim every day and he knows what's going on. So that's
Gabe,
the colorist. Gabe
who's that?
well, I can't. I'm not going to name drop his last name, but he's the colorist for several DC books.
Great.
Somebody I talked to,
That's
and he's like this thing for Jim Lee, and well, it then never even comes up in his stream because he's like, oh, we all are aware of what leadership is doing. Basically, that's why I was wondering why the fans are jumping
because
on the I hate Jim Lee.
Because there's two things.
It's too simple to give. All of a sudden, this guy was just bumped into the thing. Okay, whatever reasons you gave, all the reasons. It's just so easy to say. Jim Lee pisses me off. It was like, but it was Jim. Who fired Dan DiDio?
Kodiak,
You said Jim was the top now.
Kodiak,
if there was no top before Jim, if Dan DiDio was the top, who fired him? So apparently there's somebody over that position. If he got bumped to Dan Dio's digit
He's not
whatever.
There you have to. So here's the deal.
There's somebody telling them what to and not to say. Whether he wants to say something or not is positive. Is it a possibility that there is the overhead saying we're going to wait this out? I don't want nothing really said.
Yeah, it is. And you know what? But it doesn't matter. He should fight for it. He should know better. He has a why would he shut up when literally every fucking artist and every person on Twitter?
This is why he didn't want to be the owner of his own company with Wildstorm. He hated this stuff.
Then he shouldn't have taken the money.
He shouldn't have taken the
taken the position.
He
should have just been an artist. Period.
Period.
It's kind of
Kodiak,
it's kind of one of those things.
If I give you $1 million to be the
what
head of my
happened
company,
with that?
if I give you $1 million to be the head of my company, and you say, "Okay, I'll take the money,"
it's not like
and then
that.
something happens,
I
it
buy
blows
your
up,
product, and I say
you're the head of my company.
I say I buy your product, and I say you can still use your product, and you can write and draw Batman. Holy crap! And you can do all this. So you get in there on that, and I know for a fact that's what he got in there on. Just an artist, and they keep throwing him little bones until he didn't get that overnight. He got it in the golden boy that is Jim Lee. They wanted him. They make more off of him than he makes off of them. Other than the fact that he's using Batman and stuff, he's still the only artist to do and could compare to something like Batman. Okay, he's Jim freaking Lee. All right, they used him, not the other way around.
Oh no,
Yes. No. They paid him. Let me go back to my analogy.
Yeah. I mean, what you're saying is true.
Kodiak, I'm gonna fucking mute you. If I pay you $1 million to be the head of my company,
you shouldn't actually do it.
And something blows up, and guess who it is taking all the shit? You, the head of my company.
That's what they did. They set him up for that.
You cannot sit back and say, wait a minute. I'm
Kodiak.
just an artist.
Kodiak,
No, that's not how it works.
I want to explain just a little bit the hierarchy of how these comic publishers work. The the publisher title is the highest fan-facing level of the company.
I'm just saying, every company I've ever seen had a whipping boy, and now they've managed to make it Jim Lee.
The publisher.
This is why Ethan and Todd McFarlane are fucking brilliant. They said, "Get the fuck away! Don't do that." They're gonna set you up into a position if unless they just fire you because you're some awesome penciler, but they whatever. This is DC. This is DC's problem. Why for a week did he sit there and go, I don't know what's going on. I'm not that guy. And then he had to actually turn around because I do know he did say, I am that guy now. And then he got quiet.
What else has he said about DC Comics as a publisher?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I still think he was pressured into the job. That's what
I don't care. I don't care. He was paid. You know what? That's like a relief. The backup quarterback for the Patriots. You know, he got paid the money to go out there to be on the team and to sit on the sidelines while Tom Brady throws touchdown after touchdown, and thinking, you know what? I'm never going to play a game. I'm going to get the Super Bowl ring when we win. I can sit back, take the money. Everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, somebody kneecaps Tom Brady in the middle of a game, and your ass has got to go in there. You were paid the money to do that job. But
whose fault is it when they didn't let him go to football camp and they didn't train him for the freaking job? And now all of a sudden they want him to play quarterback.
Kodiak.
Okay, no, I'm serious. All of a
Then
sudden
he
it's
should
like a
never
job we
have
promised
taken-
you would never be because
Then he
Dan
should-
DiDio's there.
Wait.
Never taken the job then.
Here's my question. If this is such a big fucking deal, if Jim Lee is such a cuck that he's just like, oh, I'm a whipping boy and I just want to be an artist and I don't really want to say anything. It's not really my position and I wanted this job. Like, if that's the case, then why on February 29th of 2020, when he was on the Spotlight panel of C2E2, right after the sudden firing of Dan Didio, he was talking about the strength of DC Comics in the headwind of getting laid off by AT&T. He said, we've been with Warner Brothers for decades.
I forgot about that little addition of
DC
things.
is put publishing at the center of what we do, is the engine of our movies, TV, cartoons. And so it's my intent going forward as the publisher to lean into the creative years of my team, to address just some of the stuff that's out there.
And would you say that was the last thing that he said?
Speculation. I wouldn't put any credence to it. DC's been around for 85 years. We'll be around for another 85 years. It's hard to talk about things we haven't announced. Intention not to do a line-wide reboot. Our focus is talking to editorial team is to continue to what we've done best: character-driven stories, pairing the right creators on right characters, developing characters that are inclusive and diverse. And the minute something else happens, he shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just gonna
hold on a second. Did AT&T buy them yet, or is it a big-time corporation in the process?
I'm pretty sure that's already.
What is the first thing they do? What is the first thing they do when they're in process of buying things? They tell everybody, shut up, because you don't want to let the other person know.
No, Kodiak.
Hitting the fan.
They've been purchased like 2 years ago. They were a year and a half ago.
AT&T purchased 2 years ago.
Yeah, at least.
This was nothing new that we were learning about it there now.
No, well,
right?
nothing. It's their purchase isn't new, but so I've got a friend of mine that works at is pretty high up at Turner Classic Movies in Atlanta, and that's part of Turner is part of the whole purchase. So Turner, HBO, I've got a lot of friends over there, and basically what's been happening over everyone's been on pins and needles for about a year because they know that the axe is coming because AT&T doesn't give a shit. So it's slowly being pared back. I'm not at liberty to say some of the things that I know that's coming, but I can tell you that I don't know anything about DC, but I can tell you that for some of those other companies, things are slowly being pared back to the point where they're not going to be recognizable. The logos will be the same, but the company will not be the same by this time next year. So you're talking about a lot. It takes a long time because you're firing tens of thousands of people.
And Andrew said that he took the job. Now, I'm just asking you, if in a month from now you found out he had some kind of gag order from the higher ups, what would your position be then?
Here's my overall position.
He took the job and he did what they said. He shut up.
Here's my overall position in regards to everything that we're talking about here tonight. I can understand the fans being pissed at DC Comics for not saying, not coming out, not making a statement, not letting us know what's going on. And their anger and ire is at the publisher of DC. I don't care if it's Jim Lee, Jeff Johns, whoever, Mickey Mouse. Doesn't matter to me. I can understand that anger and dissatisfaction and hatred. I don't. You're trying to defend. You're trying to.
I
defend
still
an
think it's
artist
a
who you
peculiar
like.
situation. It's not
Doesn't
like it
matter.
was just. It's not like
He's
it
the
was the
publisher.
publisher that's been the publisher. They all of a sudden said, "Shitstorm, here's Shitstorm. Let's put somebody who wasn't in that position. Now you're paid to do something. What is he supposed to do? It doesn't sound like Jim.
Quit.
It doesn't sound. It doesn't.
What is he
Well, that-
supposed to do if he can't handle
you
the
go.
position? Quit. Go back.
But,
say, I'm
but
gonna
what
let
if he
somebody
is
else do that.
handling it? What if he's under gag order?
Let me ask
What
you
if
a
he's
question.
been told to shut
Let
the
me ask
hell
you a
up?
question. If there is a gag order out there, do you think somebody would have released it by now? Would have let somebody know about it right now? We
No.
live in this. We live in this 24-hour news cycle where people leak information.
No, I really
all
think
the
they
time.
believe they have a
If
life after this.
DC
I think
if
it's only the
DC
fans that see the death of the comic industry.
If
I
somebody
really
high
think they're holding on.
I think if somebody high up in DC has put out an order and says everybody shut up, don't say anything, somebody would tell somebody that that's happening.
Well, you're already seeing it with people like Sean Gordon Murphy. You're saying, "Oh, my friends are saying I shouldn't do this because I should hold on to the industry." They think that they have jobs when on the other end of the coronavirus.
I hope to God everybody does. I hope it goes right back to business as usual.
I hope they have
And they
fire
start
under their ass to stop
next
the bullshit that was going on.
But you know what? This is a whole new world. This is a new normal, and this is going to happen again and again.
Ooh,
And
wow.
yeah, I know. Sucks.
God, I hope you're right. I mean, I hope you're wrong.
Yeah, I do too. But guess what? The way we are right now, the way the industry is right now, if somebody in China sneezes and the whole thing gets shut down,
That's funny. That's funny in that.
I go
it's
back.
bad.
I know I hate to do it, but I go back to my 9/11 thing. My 9/11 comment is the fact that 15 guys with box cutters shut down the airline industry, shut down Wall Street. Nobody fired a bullet, and they shut
our
down
bases
with box cutters.
with box.
You know,
cutter,
and
yeah.
and we as a country shifted. You know, there's much more tighter security when you go on airplanes. That's never. Okay. I'm going to say that's never ever going to happen again. But the likelihood that it ever happens again, the way it happened, is never going to happen again. You know,
Yeah.
they'll have to come up with a new way of doing it, a new way of causing terror and panic.
Kinda
and so
just
I
like-
thought you were going to
it's
say
not-
the things that they installed, the things that they implemented are never going away.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's true. But when the comic book industry, when this all dies down, this coronavirus stuff, and people go back to work, and people go back and comics start shipping again, what are they going to do to prepare for this to happen again? Because it's going to.
All I know, and with all I can say, even without talking about Jim Lee, the way I feel about Jim Lee right now, as just a fan, as someone who's been an admirer of his work since I was like in high school, and I mean,
Disappointed.
straight respect for the guy, for his talent. All I can say is that Todd McFarlane right now, that motherfucker puts out one book. He puts out Spawn. He's not a major publisher. He puts out one book. Yeah, I know he's on the board of Image, but it's like that's like a phone call once a quarter or something. He pushed out one book, but he's the one out there on Bleeding Cool and everywhere else right now addressing retailer concerns. As to concern from retailers about comic books being published digitally that are unable to sell in print, McFarlane disagrees entirely. Quote, I don't agree. Doing nothing can't be the answer. If we all stand still and hold our breath, how's that improve what we're doing now? If I put Spawn out digitally for free or at a discount for a few months, does that mean customers won't buy those issues at retail? Maybe not. But I say to the stores, don't worry about getting issues 307, 308, or 309 that come out when you're closed and can't get printed copies anyway. Fans will come back for 310 when things reopen. They'll come back for Batman or whatever they're reading. Who cares about the number? It's a comic you're selling at the same price. Who cares if people get it a different way in the meantime? This is a guy putting out one mother effing book.
Hmm.
And he's the voice of reason.
Oh.
He's the voice of reason, and then he's making $1 million in 2 days just to fucking put his foot on someone's throat.
Yeah.
He's embarrassed. He has embarrassed.
Well,
Jim
he
Ryan.
dude, he's been planning that Kickstarter thing for months and months. That's what my comment in the chat was. I was following Toy Fair at the beginning of it might have been 2018 when he first started mentioning we're gonna do something special with Kickstarter.
Yep.
Then skip forward 8 months ago, he announced it. He announced the we're gonna run these old. Matter of fact, I came on stream and told you guys about it. It was like he's gonna redo the old first line of McFarlane stuff new. And so
That
it wasn't retaliatory. He had planned, he had the date, everything. It wasn't
That
this
would require me having to listen to you and pay attention. And you guys know I don't do that. You know that doesn't happen.
You do pretty good now, though.
Well, I'm in this.
Yeah,
But bottom
it's
line
fun.
is Jim Lee as an artist, great, fantastic, wonderful, love him. Jim Lee as a publisher, doing a shitty job.
All I can say is comparing the two.
He became a publisher of what, though? He got booted to publisher when there's nothing left. It's an apocalypse zone in DC. What is he publishing?
All I can say is that right now, again, just comparing apples to apples, you've got a small publisher owner, Todd McFarlane, taking the lead. If addressing retailer concerns, talking about how to protect when Diamond reopens, when this is over, reassessing the relationship, because it's not healthy for one company to own.
How did Diamond become the only?
Well, that's a
whole other story. That's a whole other story.
But then I'm looking at here. I'll even share it with you. I'll share with you what I'm looking at.
I honestly think Todd is hitting the nail on the head here with what I'm saying is that when we get back to normal, when the comic book industry starts chugging along again and comics start coming out, what are they going to do when this happens again? Because it will. And Todd McFarlane saying, hey, listen, we need to find a different way. We need to find a way to live in this world because it's going to happen again. And DC and Marvel have said nothing.
So here, check this out. I'm not even going to read the article. I just want to show you a comparison. So you seen the article?
Yep.
Oh
God, you're sharing Bleeding
Cool?
Damn, man.
I know. Todd McFarlane with Dave Comics and deal with Diamond. Todd McFarlane was in charge, addresses retailer concerns. If Diamond wasn't Monopoly,
yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
He's talking about reassessment, right? All this stuff. Meanwhile, what's DC Comics doing? They're giving you offer free virtual backgrounds for your Zoom conferencing, guys. That's how they're helping. Right over here.
God, I wish I would have known about that the other day. I could have used that.
Right there. That's it.
I
Hey,
have no idea what that is.
here's some virtual backgrounds for your conferencing so that when you do your Zoom calls, you can have a nice DC background. That's DC is a joke. Marvel is a joke. Look, McFarlane has said this, and it's absolutely true. Even if it's coming from him, it's kind of endearing. And that is, he has been doing this for 30 years. He's doing a book. He does one book. It's on issue 300 and whatever. He should not be relevant. And he has said, I should not be relevant. The younger people should have taken over and beaten my ass by now. But if you're not going to beat me, I'm just going to keep winning because no one's stopping me. And it's hilarious when you hear him talk about it because he's like, I shouldn't be relevant. Like every generation takes over the generation before. Dylan was huge in the 60s and 70s. And then, the new generation took over and made him irrelevant. Now they're all classic and they're all legends. But that doesn't take away from legend status. But the new generation always does, except this generation is not. And
what's really scary is when
you've got Todd McFarlane. Basically, you've got EVS maybe, and maybe your boy Zach, and you've got Todd McFarlane essentially running shit right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the loudest voice.
The loudest voices.
What's kind of funny is you remember when there was all the hype for issue 300 of Spawn, and I have actually asked the question on one of my live streams. I said, when was the last time Spawn or Todd McFarlane was even relevant?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Boom! he jumped out and said, hey, hello.
He
Still
didn't jump
here.
out of nowhere. I was following them the whole time. Todd
Yeah,
might have been
well.
following the whole time. It's just you were never a Spawn fan, so like a huge Spawn follower or McFarlane. I was. You know, that man he will never go broke. That is not a possibility. He made sure he had multiple eggs and multiple baskets and then put it on an assembly line and made more baskets with more eggs. So that guy's got it made. So he pulled back from comics and focused on his toys. Now he sees an industry that made him suffering and he's kind of going, hey, well, what's going on here?
Yeah, but notice he didn't put out a Kickstarter for a comic book.
Yeah, that's
He doesn't need to.
That's what we were talking about before. No,
Notice that's what I keep telling you guys. This was not reactionary. This was planned way before all this crap.
Yeah,
this
yeah,
was not. This had nothing to do with comics.
That's not
Maybe-
that's not in doubt, dude. I don't that okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he was like, what? We got to do something. I'm putting up a Kickstarter. Like that's not.
Yeah, no.
I don't think that. I believe you that you don't launch again. You don't launch successful campaigns on Kickstarter or any platform overnight. You actually plan that shit out. So no, I that's absolutely
Especially a toy factory.
Right,
You have to have those shit on.
but he did choose on when to launch it, and he did choose on when to go to Newsarama and all these other places and Forbes magazine and talk about the collapse of the industry and use it to say we got to do something and then direct everybody to his Kickstarter.
Never let a good crisis go to waste, right?
Hey, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. Why is Marvel and DC not taking advantage of this crisis in some
That's
way?
right.
That's the big puzzling thing. It's like there's no voice.
And that once
There's-
again falls on the shoulder of the publisher.
I still think when you have so many companies owning something like DC, you would expect if they cared, they wouldn't be waiting on Jim Lee.
That's what they paid in the bucks for. And if higher ups in DC have told him, or Warner Media or AT&T or whatever, and said, don't go out and say anything,
I'll
'cause we don't know
raise
what
you
we're
that
going
one.
to do.
If they did care and he wasn't speaking, he'd have been fired already. They haven't even done that.
I tell
It's
you what,
them, not the people. It's not the people. It's the companies.
if I took a cushy paycheck as co-publisher of DC and all I wanted to do was draw a cover every now and then all of a sudden the world blew up and I became the publisher and I was the one responsible, I'd be like, I'm going to hand this off to somebody else. I'm going to go back to just being an artist. But he took the money, so he's got to do it. And I
You never
like I
know if
said,
he
I
was.
don't. We're never going to know all the details, but the bottom line is when stuff happens in the comic book industry,
All I'm saying is
when
I'm trying to
stuff
be the guy
happens
that
in the
says
comic book industry,
there is
when
possibility
stuff
that
happens in the comic book industry, and the fans want a response, want a reaction, want to hear from the publisher, silence is the worst thing you can give them.
and when you work for somebody else, they pull the strings.
And I'll
They
say
tell you when to be quiet and when
Here-
not.
here-
my God.
Kodiak, the only thing I'll say to follow that is like, look, what you say, is it possible? Absolutely. If so, then it's the first time ever, because during 9/11, during anything, the leader of the company always has a statement. Always. That's why they run companies.
This is the first
or
time
they're-
in America we've been locked in our houses. Okay,
That's
so
right.
there's a
But
first time for everything.
Walk away from email. Look, if that's the case, then they all should be fired, including Jim Lee. Jim Lee should have.
I
stood up
agree.
and-
Wipe the whole thing.
Yeah,
Let Jim
that
Lee
guy
go
has
back to
enough
doing what he
power.
does best.
Jim Lee has enough power and enough fan service. Again, I know how these companies work. I've seen people with a $500,000 Twitter followers that couldn't sell a 2-cent comic book be given big offices and large bonuses because the companies overvalue Twitter followers. They overvalue Instagram followers. They don't understand how social media works, and this goes for Marvel and DC. They believe that if you have the following, you are the most powerful person there. Jim Lee is power. And if they said, hey, Jim, we don't want you to say anything, and he said, okay, then he's a fucking loser. He could have easily said, that's not the right move. We need to say something. Let me take care of it.
And how do we know
They
he
would
did?
back down.
Kodiak,
It reeks of Fall Out Boy. It reeks of a whipping boy.
Kodiak, I'm not sure if this happened
Well, then
to you
he's a
or not. I'm not sure if this happened to you or not.
The
but it happened-
whole comic industry is.
I'm not sure, Kodiak, if this happened to you or not. Okay. Oh, you he's getting. I had a really good point I wanted to make.
Go make it. He can't defend himself. Fuck him.
He left. I know. If he comes back, he can come back. But what I was going to say is, I don't know if this happened to you or not, but right after the president announced, the social distancing and all the stuff, and then the lockdown and so forth, I was flooded with emails from every single company who I have ever received an email from. Staples, Burger King, my insurance company, everybody was sending out statements going, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how we're handling.
I got another email that had COVID-19 in the subject. I swear to God.
Yeah, I got flooded with them. Every single company I had ever done business with, ever touched base with, through email, sent out a notification saying, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what's happening. This is how we have heard nothing from Marvel and DC.
That's right.
And that's still the point that people are trying to make.
It is absolutely unacceptable. I 100% agree.
So,
And I'm actually a little surprised. I didn't know Kodiak was getting all upset. I didn't know he was. I know he pissed him off so much that he dropped.
might have been an internet issue. I don't know.
Let's just pretend he's a little bitch.
Stop it! Stop. I'll have to remember it's still my show.
Is it?
And if I want to talk, I'm going to mute you guys, even if it is just for a second.
Yeah, you and I are on the same point. Like I said, there is no way for Jim Lee to look good. If he's the whipping boy and they told him to shut up and he said, yes, sir, then he doesn't deserve to be in that position, because the publisher's job is Dan Didio's job was to take arrows. That's the publisher's job. Joe Quesada did it. Joe Quesada took how many arrows? Every time Joe Quesada opened his mouth, people were like, oh, there's that motherfucker talking about stuff. Like, that's the job, is you take the arrows. You say, here's the company line. I'm saying what the company, you are basically the press secretary. That's what the publisher is. The president doesn't go out there. You go out there and you say what the president wants you to say, and then everyone shits on you. And that's basically what the job is. And if you can't do it, then leave. All I know is that there's no reason why Jim Lee or why Todd McFarlane should be more relevant. Hell, at this point, Rob Liefeld is more relevant. That guy has more. That guy is Rob Liefeld, who has his own problems, who hasn't been able to fill out his own Kickstarter or something, or at least had issues with it. Like, that motherfucker at least is like going after the comic book companies, saying you guys are crashing everything. Like,
Oh, and so Kodiak, I was going to mute Todd as well because I was trying to get you two to be quiet just for a second for me to finish what I was trying to say. I just hit you first, and then you bitched and left.
Sure. You just have me on to mute me.
I hate muting you, but
I just don't want to see. I've seen so many people like take it out on other people.
Wait. Go back a second. The point that I was making was that
I tuned in. I heard you.
Yeah, with all the emails, and we have yet to get an email, or we have yet to get any type of thing.
You made if I get another email with the coronavirus thing, oh Jesus Christ!
I had like 20 in 2 days. I had like 20, and I was like, I got one from Staples. When's the last time I went to Staples? I don't remember.
And this thing about wash your hands, and yet nobody spoke up. Has anybody ever told you that if you put alcohol on your hands more than twice a day, you kill the germs, the beneficial germs on your hands, and your hands start cracking, and then disease gets in your skin? I was a massage therapist. You don't wash your hands too many times a day. This whole thing is like, but you haven't pointed out that you need to wash your hands, but you also need to be careful that you don't destroy your skin.
Have you ever imagined when you go into a bathroom, especially a public bathroom, and there's a sign up that says employees must wash their hands? Mm-hmm. What employee out there do you think doesn't know that?
Yeah.
They've got a sign up there to tell people to wash their hands. It's like everybody knows that. What's really scary is how many people out there don't know you should wash your hands.
Doug Tenaple. I had to. I'm sorry.
It always got me when I was down in Miami.
There's people like Doug Tenapo, and we're complaining about Jim Lee.
Well, I thought it was
Oh.
funny. I went to a restaurant or someplace. It was a public place while I was in Miami, and I remember going into an area and they had signs up everywhere, and all the signs were in English and Spanish. And then I went into the bathroom, and the employees must wash their hands sign was only in English. And I thought to myself, I guess Spanish people just already know that.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah, wow.
They don't have to tell them because they already know it. They only have to tell it to the English-speaking people. I just thought that was a little racist.
So
but-
weird.
All right,
Whatever
guys.
culture you are, wash your hands.
Yeah.
But don't wash them too many times because you will destroy your hands.
Well, I've always wanted to go in there with a Sharpie and cross out where it says employees and write over it everyone.
Now, washing your hands all day long, let me see. The way they're sitting there saying, wash them 20 minutes. It's like, and they're saying, do it every day. You do it like 30 times a day. I'm like, that is going to fuck your skin up. It's going to make your hands crack, and it's going to make disease get in the cracks.
I mean, you wash your dick 20 times a day. Why wouldn't you do that?
No, I massage. Wait, fuck. Massage. That's lotion, brother. That's lotion, not soap.
So this afternoon at work, I had to give a
Lotion sucks.
presentation. I had
I
to give
use
a
oil.
presentation. I'm gonna mute you again, motherfucker. I had to give a presentation, and I had such a splitting headache. Well, I did the presentation, everything went fine, and I told all the people that was on the call, it was like 20 different people, that I was presenting a new report that was going out, and that they were going to have to start utilizing it. And I told them all that there was one particular piece that was missing. It was a specific formula that converted all the information that was on this sheet into one number. And I told them I was still working on the formula for how to do that so that everybody is treated fairly and everything is done. And then as soon as the call was over, I was like, oh my God, thank God I'm done. Because that was the most important thing I had to do that day was do that presentation. And I told my wife, I said, I got a splitting headache. I'm going to go take a quick shower. And that usually soothes my headache. While I was in the shower, I was brainstorming how to solve this problem. And by the time I got out of the shower, I had figured out the formula. I knew exactly all the points that was needed to make it work. I even did a double check and I threw out different scenarios in which the formula could get fucked up. And I figured out how to make sure that didn't happen and so forth. And I got back to my desk and my boss had sent me an email that said, hey, your presentation was really good. I appreciate you taking the lead on that. And I was starting to type up a message that said, yeah, I had a really bad headache. And then I took a nice hot shower. And then I figured out the formula. And then I always do my best thinking in the shower. And then right before I went to hit send, I went, maybe I shouldn't be telling him that.
Maybe I shouldn't send my boss that.
Maybe I should tell my boss that while I'm in the shower, I get my best thinking done, you know?
Hey, Todd, have you noticed that Andrew's getting better at storytelling? Because we keep cutting him off. He's trying to do it and rush it, and it gets done in a good amount of time, by the way.
That's right.
I got one more story for you, Kodiak.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're now down to 0 viewers. Oh, no, we got 1 viewer back, but it was funny. The viewership.
It's Todd McFarlane.
Oh, dude, I want you. Guys, this is nothing against my audience out there, but my normal Monday, Wednesday, Friday shows, they usually get maybe 5, 6 viewers. I mean, at the most sometimes. I mean, which is fine. The stream that I did yesterday, where it was just me drawing, at one point I had like 10 or 12 viewers. So I don't know where the hell they were coming. They were just coming out of the woodwork, and I'm like, "What the hell?"
It was us going, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Well, I didn't send any invites because I figured it's not a normal.
Wait a minute.
Day, so
See, I checked Twitter. I didn't check. I was like, "Oh, he's not on," and I never came to YouTube.
Oh.
So
I don't know what to tell you. But all right, well, we're gonna wrap.
it
up
is your
the-
channel, as you keep reminding us.
It is, motherfucker. It is.
Yeah.
But,
Well, promote it more.
That's what I'm doing.
Not
Hey,
on the channel. You can't promote the channel from the channel.
Oh, I'm gonna end the stream, and then I gotta tell you a story, Todd. It's important. All right, guys. Good night. Love you all. I'm gonna try to do another stream tomorrow night since I got pretty much nothing else better to do, and I hope everybody has a good Easter. Stay with your family, eat at home, and best wishes to everybody, and be good.
Andrew,
night,
it's
everybody.
not another rash story, is it?
Of course it is.